This is Hoodies. Did you know that true love asks for nothing? Her acceptance is the way we came. Did you know that life is giving love a guarantee to last and forever another day? Shout out to Stevie Wonder. What a dope record. Stevie Wonder probably has one of the dopest pens in music. You know what I'm saying? Dead ass. Yeah, shout out to Stevie Wonder. Shout out to Steveland Wonder. I don't even know if Wonder is his last name. But anyway, let's go ahead and do this. Welcome back to another dope session of Hoodies the Podcast. I'm the host, the God Rashidi, coming at you live from the Skill Suite. And maybe not so live, we'll be coming at you, man. Let's put one in the air for Hoodies the Podcast. Word. Let's get right on into this thing, right? You know how we started off. My condolences to anyone who's lost a loved one today or recently. Sorry for your loss. I send you some good energy. Yo, shout out to anybody who's got a loved one who's sick right now. You know, send some energy out to you for that as well. Shout out to anyone who's got a loved one who's recovering from a procedure. And my mom's will be one of those people. My mom, she finally had a knee surgery this past Friday. It's her right knee. Got a titanium knee now. So she's had the procedure done. She's home. So right now the healing process has begun. So she's in good spirits. You know what I'm saying? We was in a family chat, you know, sending her the bionic arm emoji, you know, because once she heals up, you know, she'll be good as new again. She'll be kicking field goals for the Chicago Bears. Well, shout out to my moms, man. Salute. Love you, Mom. Also, shout out to my brother. You know, my brother from the same mother. His birthday was on the 25th, so happy belated born day to my brother. And listen, happy born day to anybody whose birthday is today. You know what I'm saying? Whether you was born today or you've been around for a while. So happy belated born day to my brother. Happy born day to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Who's got a birthday today, man. You know what I'm saying? New life, more life. I salute you. Word up. How's everybody doing, man? Hey, man. Keep sending me some warm energy. And I'll keep sending y'all some. I could use some warm energy, some good energy, man. Word. And shout out to anybody who's just going through something. You know, it may not even have nothing to do with a loved one. You just may be going through some things right now. Shout out to everybody who's going through some things and don't nobody even know about it. You know, or maybe some people do, but it's a select few or even less than that. You know, shout out to fighting that battle internally, but on the outside, you know what I'm saying, you still on your square. You know what I mean? Never let them see you sweat. I get it. Shout out to all the strong, you know, who's dealing with it, but yet they keep pushing, man. You know, shout out to the ones who understand that everybody goes through things. You know what I mean? Everybody goes through something. This is just your turn. You know, so, you know, on the other side of it is a new understanding, you know. Every now and then, you know, and I say this from experience, every now and then, I guess our comfort has to be made uncomfortable. Our world has to be shaken up just a bit in order for us to get up and move to do something that maybe we should have already done. Or maybe it's to help us appreciate something more. I don't know. Only you can deduce the finality of what you're going through. Only you can deduce what needs to be deduced and then apply it to your life. You know what I mean? So shout out to all y'all. Shout out to us. You know what I mean? So how about we just send each other some good energy? You know what I'm saying? I haven't checked on the status of the fires in LA. But it's not just the fires in LA. It's mad people all over the world who's going through external and also internal battles. You know, there's a war going on outside and on the inside. So, yeah, man. How about we go ahead and start this thing? You know, I think the intro is long enough. Let's start this. Let's get into it. Yeah, man. Let's do it. So yeah, yeah, man. I guess you know, letting the intro bleed over into the main part of this episode. Yeah, man. Everybody's fighting their own personal battles, you know, and we may look at the next man or that man or this man, that man, as the enemy. You know what I mean? Like right now, a lot of people are looking at the new president, Donald Trump, as the enemy. You know what I mean? He then came out and said the government will only recognize two genders. You know, I'm sure a lot of trans folk are feeling some type of way about that. I could imagine. You know what I mean? I'm not a part of that lifestyle, but hey, just to throw in my own 2 cents. I ain't really here to play it safe. Otherwise, I wouldn't have even turned the microphone on. So just throwing in my 2 cents, you know what I'm saying, or maybe 5. You know, regardless of regardless of what you identify as, you're right. There's only 2 genders. I get it. You may identify as something other than your assigned gender, but my nigga, there's only 2 genders, male and female. You understand? Identify with what you wish. There's still only 2 genders. So me personally, I don't see the big deal about that. I don't. You can still be who what you want to be. You know, but let the truth be the truth, goddammit. You know? So then there's that. Then there's the elimination or they're proposing to eliminate DEI, which I believe stands for what? Diversity, equality, and inclusion. From what it sounds like, I ain't gonna front. I just found out about what this was probably about a week ago. You know? So what it sounds like from the outside looking in, because I've been self-employed for a spell, man, for over 10 years. Word. But anyway, but what it sounds like affirmative action by another name. That's what it sounds like. And listen, I ain't even really checked like that. But if DEI is just like affirmative action, then not a lot of our people were benefiting from it anyway. You know what I mean? And understand that some of these employers, they receive money, you know what I'm saying, for having a diverse crowd. So, I mean, okay, sure. So at least you got the job. I get it. At least as far as you're concerned, I don't care how I got there. I'm in here. You know, let them do what they're going to do. But a lot of times they don't really give a fuck about you. They're just trying to fulfill a quota. And I get it. You ain't there to be friends with people. But maybe this is our wake-up call as a community to finally start doing for self. You know? Maybe have a conversation with your neighbor about going into business with them. Maybe this is a sign that says, yo, it's time for us to go ahead and do for us. You know? I suppose I'm one of them folk that, even though I'm one of those people who's going through something right now, I'm all for never letting them see you sweat. I'm all for standing in a moment of melancholy. I'm all for that. Sadness and this, that, and the third. Sadness, anger, or whatever other emotion, you know what I'm saying, that comes with, you know, going through something. But I'm not so melancholy. I'm not so engulfed in that to that I can't see the possible upside in the situation. And I think a possible upside to a concept like DEI is to do for self. Maybe it's time. You know what I mean? I think if we get over ourselves and get over our feelings, get out our feelings and kind of break away from that collective thought. We have this collective thought that, well, he's not a candidate anymore. He actually won the election. But, you know what I mean? We tend to look at certain people collectively through a different type of lens. Like, you know, the current president, Donald Trump, is looked at as someone who's racist. You know what I mean? That's the lens people see him through. So regardless of what he says or what he does, he'll be labeled a liar, a racist, and this, that, and the third. And I ain't here to debate that. Same with the president who, well, she wasn't president. She was vice president, Kamala Harris. She was running for office, and she was also seen through a particular, lens, more like a rose-colored lens, to whereas regardless of what she said, most folk, depending on what your affiliation politically is, be it Republican or Democrat, you was going to see her through a particular lens. And there's nothing that she could say and or do to make certain folks see her any different. So sometimes I think it's important to break away from a collective thought. Sometimes break away from that and think for yourself, man. Listen with your own ears. And look for the possible upside. What are your choices? What are our choices? You know what I'm saying? Hold on.
And your coverage never goes down, no matter how many claims you have. Call 800-427-0373. 800.
Stuck on that screen, making it look like they sponsor me or something like that. I mean, if CarShield does want to sponsor me, I ain't against it. I'm just saying. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the collective thought thing. I'm not saying collective thought is a bad thing. I think collective thought, like say Pan-Africanism, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing when everybody's on the same page when it comes to building something. Because that's exactly what we would have to do in order to build businesses. If we're going to do for self, we would have to have a collective thought when it came to certain things. You can't have people off doing their own thing when we're supposed to be working and pooling our resources, if not money, maybe our know-how in order to create something. You feel me? So, that's my response to DEI. I'm looking at the upside of it. You may as well. You may as well look at the upside. I don't care what person wins any election, whether it's the federal level or the local level. Look for the upside. What are your choices? You know what I'm saying? You can complain, which is what a lot of black folks, it's kind of what we do. Not all of us. That's a pretty broad brush. But both things can be true. That's kind of what we do. We complain. We do a whole lot of boo-hooing and a whole lot of bitching. And the funny thing is, should you decide to get up off your ass to make some things happen, it's funny. You get shunned. Who the fuck you supposed to be, Malcolm? You supposed to be Farrakhan? Just because you no longer want to talk and you want to do something. But anyway. But yeah, man. So a lot of folk feel as though, to get back on topic, that the new president is the enemy. Their enemy, the new enemy, whatever you want to call them. Then there's this thing popping off with immigration. You know what I'm saying? From what I hear from folk, you know what I'm saying? And on a site formerly known as Twitter. I'm going to stop saying that. Just call it X. There's, footage of ICE. I don't know what ICE stands for. But they're snatching up immigrants. And, illegal immigrants. I'm sorry, because there are immigrants here. I'm talking about the illegals, right? I think I've already gave my 2 cents in terms of, I think it's a slap in the face for the immigrants who did come here and did it the right way and became American citizens. You know what I mean? I think it's a slap in the face to allow illegals here and give them funding and this, that, and the third. Shelter. That's kind of crazy, where you can come over to a place illegally, don't put in none of the work, and get, funding. That's kind of crazy. But I think to look at the current president as the enemy while still seeing the Democratic Party through the same rose-colored lens, that tends to show how unaware a lot of people can be. You know what I mean? Can be really unaware, because if they were aware that Brother Barack did that, if they're aware that Hillary Rodham Clinton said some of the same rhetoric, did some of the same things.
Plan to enter the U.S. illegally, your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up. If you're a criminal, you'll be deported. What I'm describing is accountability, a common sense middle ground approach.
They've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked, they're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes, and you have to try to learn English, and you have to wait in line.
So it does make you wonder, who really is the enemy? It makes you wonder who really is the enemy. Who's the enemy? Because if you think this person's the enemy for doing whoop-de-whoop, and then those you claim to love, like Brother Barack, and he's doing it too, what do you make of that? Think about that. Then there's talk about the tariffs and eliminating income tax.
It's time for the United States to return. America is going to be very rich again, and it's going to happen very quickly. It's time for the United States to return to the system that made us richer and more powerful than ever before. Do you know the United States in 1870 to 1913, all tariffs, and that was the richest period in the history of the United States, relatively speaking. In other words, relatively. And they set up the Great Tariff Commission of 1887, and this commission had one function: what to do with all the money that we took in. It was so enormous that they had no idea. It was a blue ribbon committee. It was set up 1887, and what to do with all of the money that we had. And again, Teddy Roosevelt was a beneficiary, because when McKinley was killed, he took over this vast sum of money, and he did all of those national parks and all of the other things. And I'm not knocking him, but he was given a vast amount of money, and that was all made through tariffs. We had no income tax. The income tax came in 1913. As I said in my speech last week, instead of taxing our citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens. Does that make sense, right?
Now, I ain't gonna front and act like I've known about tariffs this whole time. I read, I read, but about tariffs, nah, I never even heard anything about tariffs. So I decided to start with a Google, right? So tariffs, right? Just to go ahead and make a real short summary of what it is. A tariff is a tax on the import and export of goods between countries, right? So, okay, so what I'm deducing from that is that China would have to pay a tax in order to import their goods here to this country. So I started thinking, okay, well, what about food? What about food? So, okay, I get the goods. What about food? Right? So it says here, starting with a Google, of course, it says Donald Trump's recent plan to impose a 25% tariff on imports from Mexico and Canada, along with an additional 10% tariff on goods from China, could have significant consequences for U.S. consumers. Right? Together, these three countries supply nearly 45%. That's like nearly half of U.S. food and beverage imports, which would make everyday staples more vulnerable to rising prices. So, wow. So it's like on one end, you hear about paying no income taxes, but then everything else will be taxed. Now, okay, so it makes me think, okay, what about American products like American cars? It's American made. So I wonder if all the parts to this car is made in America. You know what I'm saying? Only. So, okay, milk. I'm sure that's American. They got farms and shit. Wow. So I'm going to dig a little deep into that when it comes to food. So I find that interesting. I find all of that to be real interesting. No, I'm not into politics. No. But I just happened to be scrolling in, and I ain't gonna front, it caught my eye. So maybe I am. You know? Yeah, man. But again, some people would say that that's yet another reason to view the current president as the enemy. You know what I'm saying? Or as a enemy. Me personally, I think people are looking at the wrong person. You know what I'm saying? At the wrong person. I think oftentimes we as black folk, I think we tend to do that. Let's keep it funky. We talk about the white man this, the white man that, Donald Trump this, and I'm not saying white supremacy is fake. It definitely is real. If you've lived long, I'm 50. If you've lived long enough, then you know that shit is real. I'm just saying, and I'm not saying that there is not an agenda. I'm not saying that. There is an agenda. There's an agenda to all of this shit. You know what I'm saying? However, that's not all that's getting us. Here's an example of that. So a 489-pound rapper, her name is Dank Demos. Dank Demos or Demas, I don't know. Dank Demas, right? Now the picture that you're looking at right now is the picture that you just saw, right, was her showing up at a law firm because she filed a lawsuit against Lyft, right? After a driver denied her a ride, claiming that the car was too small. You see her, 489 pounds, right? She says she wants to change the world. She says she wants change in the world. She says, I'm fighting for my community, my people, making a change in the world, not just for me, but for everyone. But yet, the enemy is on the outside, right? Come on, man. Come on, man. Okay, let me just go ahead and get to the point. I've with you all long enough, right? And I hope I'm not coming off angry or looking some type of way, because this past week and a half, I've recorded 3 episodes and I deleted them all, right? Y'all heard me speak about the LA fires. I had one episode that it was crazy, but I was angry. I was in the thick of some bullshit. And I felt I don't want to come off like that. I don't want to come off bitter and fucked up. So I needed a moment. I decided that I needed a moment to collect myself. I needed a moment to center myself. And I'm still not centered. You know what I mean? It's still, I'm getting there. You know what I mean? I'm dealing with it. But anyway. Right? Where was I? I almost went down that rabbit hole. In fact, I did go. But what I'm trying to say is, let me stop fucking around and just get to the point. The real enemy is within. If not within, well, yeah, within, but the enemy is close to us. The enemy is closer than we think, right? But let's just say the enemy is within. Let's go with that, right? Walk with me here, right? So take like a big time drug cartel. When the DEA pulls up on them and kicks in their door and this, that, and the third, or catches them at the airport, or, you know what I'm saying, catches them at church with their moms, be real clear. They got you or got them because, fuck it. They got you if you was a big time dude in the drug game or any type of ring of something. They got you because they got somebody close to you. You know what I'm saying? Which means the enemy was within. They got a hold of somebody and the DEA flipped them. The FBI flipped them. And I don't know if they're one and the same. I don't fuck around. But it doesn't matter. You were flipped. they were flipped. And they got somebody that was on the inside to get to your ass. You know what I'm saying? Same thing that happened to a lot of, a lot of black gangsters and big time drug dealers. Frank Lucas. You know what I'm saying? Frank Lucas, same thing. One of his family got caught up. That, granted, that's if that particular nugget of information in the movie was true. I ain't gonna front and act like I've read a book on Frank Lucas. You know what I mean? I haven't read a book on Frank Lucas. I have not. But if, according to the movie, it was one of his family that dropped the dime. It was one of his family that was the weak link. Frank Lucas's enemy was within. You know what I'm saying? It was within. And he himself ended up becoming a snitch. Sure, according to the movie, he snitched on cops. Supposedly he snitched on cops. That's still a snitch. See, a snitch is when y'all are both in it. Snitch is not a regular citizen just going about their day and they notice some fuck shit going on and they tell the authorities. That's not a snitch. That's a civilian. That's a citizen. But when you are in that life, like Frank Lucas was, he was in part of that life brings police, right? And when a police is corrupt, like they take payola, why they stay out your way and let you keep running your criminal enterprise, y'all are both in it now. Y'all are both kith and kin in this game. So even though Frank Lucas told on some cops, you still told. You know what I'm saying? The minute they pulled up on you and said, look, you pay us, and you said, yeah, we want such and such grand in the mail every 15th. Once you said yeah, and of course you're going to say yeah because you want to keep your freedom. Y'all were in it together, kith and kin. So snitching on cops don't change nothing. Because I'm sure some of them cops, I'm sure they snitched on maybe some more gangsters. You know what I'm saying? Nicky Barnes might have been one of those folk. He might have been a casualty. Don't quote me on that. But they was doing their thing around the same time. So who knows? It might have took down more gangsters. Frank Lucas's snitching, you know what I'm saying? Had a ripple effect. The enemy was within. Now for Nicky and the cops and Nicky Barnes and all of them, it was somebody inside the game. That got to you. The enemy is within. You know what I'm saying? I already talked about the rapper. Well, anybody who's in not so bad health. Nobody made you that size. Nobody made you pick up that bottle. Nobody made you pick up that needle. The enemy is within. I'd like to think that we all have a higher self and a lower self. You know what I'm saying? The lower self just concerns itself with pleasure. I am of the belief of. It just concerns itself with pleasure. It distracts the higher self with that's that side of us that would rather hit the snooze button and rather getting the fuck up. You know, that lower self is the self, that part of ourselves that fuck. I ain't fucking with that gym today. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes rest is necessary. You know when you need rest. Your body will tell you. Your body will tell you, fam, I need a rest. Your body will tell you that you just need rest, period. But it's that lower self that'll make you just give up on yourself. It's your lower self that'll stop you from loving yourself. It's that lower self that make you eat like there's no tomorrow. You know you ain't supposed to be eating that bacon. You know that's too much motherfucking salt. You know damn well you need to put them cookies down, big boy. Big boy. Big boy. Big back. Come on, you know you overdoing it. You overdid it years ago. The enemy is within. You know? Listen, self-doubt. You know? Also by another name, they call it imposter syndrome. When you doubt yourself and you feel like you don't belong here. You know, don't belong here. Yeah. That lower self engages in negative self-talk. I don't belong here. I ain't good enough. I mean, come on, man. I ain't even got no views. Barely got any followers. Shh, just the same people watching. Maybe then you winning. Somebody watching it. You know what I mean? As a result of turning this camera on and the mic on and just letting some shit, unloading some shit right here. Hey, it's a form of therapy too. Not a replacement for sitting in front of someone getting some real professional therapy help. No, but it is a therapy of sorts. To just get it out, you know, to be expressive. You know? Hey, listen. To be expressive, to sit down and talk to someone, that's the real meaning of manning up. Sidebar. That's the real meaning of manning up. When I say man up, I don't mean fuck it, just get over it. No. I mean, okay, like I said, sit down and talk to somebody. Talk to an OG. Shout out to the OGs who's just standing right there, ready to give that wisdom. Our lower self will cause us to not man up. Move like boys. Hurt boys. You know what I'm saying? The lower self, how you knee deep in some pussy that's not your wife's. Your lower self could care the fuck less about the consequences in that moment, at least. That lower self will have you behind the wheel drinking. Hey, another sidebar. Y'all ever notice how dope it is to see Snoop, who's damn near a household name now? Y'all notice that? This is the same dude who had a song in the 90s. Rolling down the street, smoking Indo, sipping on gin and juice, laid back with my mind on my money and my money on my mind. Yo, this brother had us rolling down the street, smoking Indo, sipping on gin and juice. Snoop had us drinking and driving, and we loved every minute of it. Now he's hosting the Olympics, T-Mobile commercials. He's damn near a household name, working with Martha Stewart. He got, fam, household name. Shout out to Snoop. End of sidebar. But yeah, I think y'all get it about the lower self. But our higher self says, you know what, man, let me get my ass in this gym. Higher self says, I don't feel like it, but let me pump out these push-ups and hit that treadmill. Higher self said, nah, I bet that pussy good, but nah, I can't fuck with it. I'm cool, shorty. I'm good. Move around. You know? Higher self says, you know what? I ain't even gonna say nothing. I'm gonna go ahead and just let him get that off. Higher self says, you know what? That was rude. That was real rude. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't no mistake. That was deliberate. In fact, you got a habit of doing that. I'm going to go ahead and get off the phone. I'm going to holler at you another time. Higher self does that. I'm good on you right now. We can talk another time. We still good. But, yeah. Shout out to all the men of the house. Right? Shout out to the men of the house who will let no enemy come in between him and his woman. If you are a man of the house, and say you got sons who live there. Maybe those sons are adults. If you're a father and you're on your square, you're going to have a nice talk with your sons. First of all, if they're adults, there's a reason why they're home, right? Maybe they left and came back. It happens. But before you drop your bag, let me holler at you real quick. See that woman in there? There will be no disrespect whatsoever tolerated. Now, you know, she's a woman, which means women process things different. She can be emotional, and it's possible that she may say something that you may not necessarily like. Should that happen, just give me a text, give me a call. I'll talk to her. But in no way, shape, or form are you to get aggressive or any of that shit. Understand? And along with some other rules, this house will be protected. You know what I'm saying? Because the enemy is within. Because if you let other folk, and listen, it does matter if a son or a daughter is a teen or an adult. It does matter. For some people it don't. For some moms it don't. You know what I mean? But the expectations from say a 15-year-old are different from the expectations of someone who's in their mid to late 20s. So yeah, you know, yeah, I get it. They still need help. You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking about the expectations here. Shout out to the fathers who hold it down and keep that enemy out their shit. Shout out to the mothers who do the same thing. Shout out to the mothers who are letting their adult offspring know, that's my man. He's man of this house. You gonna respect him. You understand what I'm saying? And the same thing I would tell my beloved sons, all three of them, dead ass. If that's something that you cannot live with, I love you, but you might want to go lay your head somewhere else. Hey, maybe I can still give you some help here and there. But if you can't rock with that, sorry, you can't be here. Shout out to the mothers who co-sign that. They ain't let no enemy up in here. Shit, mama gotta have a life too. Daddy gotta have a life too. You know what I mean? The enemy oftentimes is within. It's always somebody close to you. So the new president is not your enemy. I get it. It sucks to have a loved one or a friend be deported. I couldn't even imagine what that's like, man. I couldn't even imagine. I ain't even gonna pretend to. You know? I can't even imagine that. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. But I will keep pushing home. The enemy is, you guessed it, within. Anything you think about yourself, you are right. You are what you say you are. And you keep telling yourself certain things. You ain't shit, this, that, and the third. And that's exactly what you'll be. Shit. So, before I get out of here, man, first of all, it feels good to be back. This seems like a pod that I actually edit and keep. You know what I mean? I feel good about it. It feels right. Because I'm no different from anybody else who's got an enemy within. I think we've all got a lower self and higher self. It's just some people refer to it as God and the devil. Somebody just got triggered. I heard it. What? Yep. Some people say that the devil stay busy. No, that's you. That's you. That's you. That's your POV playing tricks on you. That's my opinion. I'm sure somebody had an opinion about some of the things I've said here tonight. You know what I mean? Because the minute you do start hitting the gym and the minute you do start putting them cookies down, people say, see, the Lord is leading me to not eat these cookies. When, if you ask me, it's you. It's just your higher self has said, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm sick of the Twinkies. Shout out to everybody who operates, you know what I'm saying? You know, from the perspective of their higher selves. Word. Yeah, but anyway, I'm going to get on out of here. And once again, you know, I'm going to keep sending y'all some warm energy. I appreciate if you could send me some too. So, real quick about the pooch. Ozza, not too long ago got sick, man. Word, Ozza got sick. I think one night, you know, he puked and had some diarrhea, and I started thinking, oh shit, he got parvo. Okay, this ain't good. This is not good. This ain't good at all. What the fuck is that? What is that? I was like, you sick, homie. It's time for the vet. Damn it. What the yo? Nah, fam. But nah, he's shots up today, so there's no parvo. So that vet bill was a pretty penny. But turns out all the talk I did about the farmer's dog, the fresh food, and this, that, and the third, we had to put him back on kibble, at least for the time being. Because I don't know, he just started having a reaction to the food. And now that he's back on kibble, he's no longer the diarrhea and this, that, and the third. I don't know. It seemed to be pretty good. It seemed to be going well. You know, at first I thought maybe he just got hold of something. And, you know, dogs are really quick with it. They're like children. They're quick to put stuff in their mouth, and you got to catch that shit. And I'm thinking maybe I just didn't catch something. And I think it ended up being deeper than that. So I tried, man. I tried. So, yeah. Ozza's good, though. That's what's important. So the pooch is good. And, hey, I suppose I get to save a few dollars because that farmer's dog was not cheap. Good food, but you get what you pay for is what I'm saying. But yeah, so anyway, I think I got a couple new subscribers. I appreciate you for subscribing. Thank y'all for letting me babble. Keep sending me some good energy. I keep sending y'all some. Thank you for your likes, subs, and shares. You know, just thank you. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the ones who actually go through my old content, like all the way back to podcast 1, podcast 2, and watch them and give comments on it. I appreciate that. You know, I go back and I listen to some of them. I'm like, wow, things have come a long way. As a matter of fact, I believe Hoodies the podcast is 7 years old now. 8 days ago. I think I started this January 20th. I forget the year. But I think 7 years old. I ain't about to do the math. But yeah, so yeah, it's amazing how far we've come. You know what I mean? Here in the skill suite. Word up. Started out audio and now we visual. But anyway, man, thank y'all for watching. Y'all stay up. And again, shout out to everybody who's dealing with something and still trying to stay focused. You know what I mean? I'm Nagar Rashidi. Yeah, man, thank y'all for watching once again. I'm Nagar Rashidi, and this is Hoodies. Peace. Hey, this is Hoodies.